I am Alen Stellian, the Midlife Empowerment Coach, and today I am thrilled to introduce Laurie Thompson. Laurie is Zimbabwean born and raised, but through work and pleasure has traveled the world extensively. She has enjoyed a very varied career, starting off in the medical field, then travel and tourism, and then network marketing. This led her to her love for motivational speaking and personal development before she found her passion for coaching. She now works as a personal development life coach with women to enable them to discover who they are now and how to start living their dream 10-10 life. You're going to have to 10 out of 10 life. Is that what we're yes, talking about? Okay. Well, Laurie, welcome. I have been so looking forward to our conversation and particularly to our topic because you hear a lot about the Enneagram, but I, as I told you before, purposefully did not go do a lot of digging about it because I was like, you know what, I got the expert coming on. So let me hear from Laurie straight up, who's just going to tell us a little bit about, what this model is, what this, I think it's a test, right? I don't know. This is how little I know about it, except it's talked about a lot. So Laurie, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you've got some slides to share. School us. Let us know what this is all about.
Thanks, Ellen. Let me get on to my slide share. There we go. So, hi everybody, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for watching us. So, I want to share with you about something that, as Ellen says, I'm so passionate about, is how to discover you through the Enneagram. So why? Why would you want to discover who you are? I really deeply believe that to find the life of fulfillment that you would deeply love, you first of all need to understand who you are now in this stage of your life. Because as you know, we keep changing. What motivates you deeply? What do you seek that gives you deep satisfaction and contentment, or the opposite? What do you dislike and want to avoid? The trouble is, if you don't know the answer to these simple questions, the chances are you're going to walk right into what you don't want, or you're going to carry on just going from one thing to the next, trying to find that 10 out of 10 life that you really do want. So it's critically important. Your personality is one of the most important facets of who you are. Whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, you are orderly, structured, or just spontaneous and free-flowing, a deep thinker or a feeler, each aspect of who you are will contribute towards the life that you would love. So until you more fully understand and then accept who you are, you can't confidently discern the life that would bring you the most satisfaction and fulfillment. And of course, that's what I'm really passionate about helping people to do. So why the Enneagram? Through my life, through my coaching, I have worked with a lot of different personality typing systems. You've probably heard of DISC. I've worked with Tim LaHaye's temperament types. I've done gems and colors and animals and you name it, until eventually I trained quite extensively in the Myers-Briggs type indicator, which gives you the 16 types. I loved it. I trained a lot in it and I worked a lot until I was introduced to the Enneagram. And this I found utterly profound, because most other typing systems will help you to understand who you are, and it'll describe your positive, your negative, this is how you behave. But like, so what? It puts you into a box. The thing that I love about the Enneagram is it helps you to get out of the box, because it is so profound. There are so many facets to it. And it enables each person to be utterly unique, not, okay, you're in this box, you're in that box. And it's more importantly, it's, as a life coach, it is just such an powerful tool that will help you to grow. So it shows you when you're behaving badly, this is how you behave. When you're moving in a healthy direction, this is how you behave. and pick up different traits in any direction. So it shows you how to grow. And of course, as a life coach, that's what I'm so passionate about, is helping you to understand the best direction for you to go in. So a very brief description of the Enneagram. As you can see, it's a circle with 9 points on it. And they are describing 9 different personality types. So Ennea means, it's a Greek word, it means 9, and gram is a diagram. So it's a diagram with 9 points on it. Now, all the points are equal. Number 9 is not worse than number 1 being the best one. They're all equal in value. And interestingly, they're all gender neutral as well. There are as many male and female types in each type as well. And interestingly, although different cultures will promote or encourage different types of behavior and say this is the best person to be, they are equally found in every culture as well. So that's just very brief overview of the description. And as I was saying, it's the most powerful tool for growth and awareness, because when we are in a healthy way, when we are behaving naturally, we're relaxed, we're not stressed, we move inwards towards the gift that we really are inside. So each personality type has a way of being or a gift that they bring to the world around them, community. So when we are relaxed and healthy, we are performing or operating in the gift, and we're just bringing so much joy to everyone around you. And inside, that's the real you. But in the healthy range, then we are free from all of the constraints or the obsessive traits, the unhealthy behaviors, the compulsions of unhealthy behavior that we pick up when we are really behaving like our particular type. And so each type has their own unhealthy compulsive behavior that we need to understand and move away from to a place of growth where we can be the gift. So the goal is to grow in our understanding and awareness so that we can let go of the unhealthy strategies and be more free to be the gift and the joy to ourselves and to other people. And what I love about the Enneagram, it's a tool to help us to understand all of this and how to grow maturity and freedom. So that's why I love the Enneagram. But also, it's not a simple personality typing system. Like I said, it doesn't put you in a box. So firstly, we have something of every single type in us that we can identify with. You can say, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. As we're talking about them, you'll see something of every type. But we usually have one main type. So in this example, I've chosen number 6. So you have one main type that's your home base. And out of this, you will recognize your core fears, your core desires, your deepest motivation of who you are. It's the type that you will resonate with the most deeply. But as well as our main type, we also have 2 other very strong types, which makes up what we call the tri-type. And that's what makes each person such a unique and amazing mix, is there's no set tri-type. You can pick up types from each of the different, what we call triads, which make it so unique because you'll pick up different elements of them as well. Then as well, you can see on either side of number 6, there's a 7 or a 5. And those are the different wings that you can lean on. So if you're a number 6, you may pick up more of the traits of number 7. And so that's like your helper. And the other side will be less dominant, that you'll have perhaps less of that wing that you'll be operating in. And then on top of that, we also have what we call the subtypes, those 3 lines. The subtypes are ways that we behave and interact with other people. So we may be a very security conscious person. We may be a very one-on-one wanting meaningful interaction, or perhaps we could be, so there's different subtypes. I don't want to make it too complicated. But the important thing is to start off with understanding your main type or your home base, because from there you will start getting such a deep understanding of the motivation by which you live your life. So, which one are you? What is your particular type? So I want to say straight away here that discovering your Enneagram type is not a quick test that you can do. It is a process of discovery. As you look at the different types and you have time to reflect, you see your response in different situations, and it takes time. And so many people originally think, oh, I'm a number 8. And then they find out, oh, actually, wow, I'm really not. I'm a number 5. And sometimes I behave very badly as a number 8, for example. So in the coaching course that I do, we take a very deep dive into the Enneagram because it's so important to understand who you are. And we're really trying to help you define what are your top 3 types and what's your wing, how you behave sociably, how you behave, how you behave when you're healthy or when you're unhealthy, etc. But for now, just to really make this interesting, let's have a look at what could be your main type. So, firstly, each of the numbers has got a name that typically describes some of the dominant traits of their behavior or their particular style. So as we go through here, you'll see number 1, the moral reformer. So I'm going to share a little bit of information. So as you can see, our lady here, remember it's male and female equally, but this is a person who has always been the good girl or the good boy at school. Through life, they're very morally upright. They love standards. They like things to be excellent. The difficulty that they have is they're often a perfectionist. And so things have got to be, these are the people that can go down and be unhealthy to almost be obsessive compulsive, where things have got to be absolutely in order, but amazing gift because they are the ones that bring systems and order and structure and the most amazing organizers. But they also love bringing reform. They like to make things right. And so you can see we really need more people like this in the world. Perhaps you're a number 2, the supportive helper. These people need to be needed. And they are the most friendly, outgoing, helpful. You'll always see them supporting, helping, serving, often in the background. The difficulty is they deeply need to be appreciated, and they will keep on giving as long as you appreciate them, but can be very hurt and move into unhealthy behavior when there is no appreciation. And unfortunately, in an unhealthy place, these people can almost become a doormat, where they're almost like so desperate to be needed and to be helping that they just are very out of touch with what their own needs are. They're so busy focusing on other people's needs. Then number 3 is the successful achiever. These people are fairly easy to identify. They are often the leaders. They're out in front, have to be number 1, have to excel, have to win at all costs. These are the people, if you go on holiday, you will see the successful achievers sitting with their laptop on the beach working. They're always working. They have an amazing capacity for work, hitting goals, they pack so much into their lives and are amazing role models. The trouble is they find it very difficult to settle for second. And so it can be very, very driven. If unhealthy, there's no life balance. It's just work, 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 go, go, go. And they have to be first. But incredible role models, they inspire people. You look up to them, and they're often very good team leaders as well. That's the successful achiever, have to be first. The romantic individualist is often all of our creative people, the musicians, the artists, the movie stars, and these are the people that bring depth to the world around us. They can be very emotionally deep, very in touch with the emotions, where the rest of people can be fairly shallow. They're very creative, but can almost be very morbid, very moody, introspective if they're unhealthy, but very creative, very romantic, but have to be the individual. They don't want to be like everybody else. They don't want to fit the mold. They need to be a totally unique individual. Your number 5 is your investigative observer. So a sort of, I'm not very good with a caricature, but this is the kind of person, if you imagine an older person would be a professor in a study surrounded by books. Their security is in their knowledge. They need to know facts and information. They're not, again, remember, it's all depending on their type and their mix. But these people are not usually very socially comfortable. They don't like being in a big crowd. They prefer to be in a smaller group. Love reading, love studying, love researching, but will often sit and observe rather than jumping right into the middle. So, of course, when healthy, these are the research people that have got so much to teach. Unfortunately, can tend perhaps to be a little bit arrogant because of their superior knowledge. Look at everybody as being such idiots. Why don't you know this stuff? And can also be like socially awkward, and they don't want to interact. They just want to get on and study and be left alone. The loyal guardian, these are the best friends you can ever have. They are so loyal and faithful. They are just the people that will always, always be there. These are the protectors of society, the faithful, faithful friends. You can see that she's got this kind of an attitude. You will know you're a number 6 because inside your head, there is like a committee of voices. And so very difficult to make decisions because, well, maybe this is right. But on the other hand, perhaps this. And, well, I could do this, but then there's always this. And there's this committee going on trying to help you make decisions. But faithful, committed, but can tend to be very fear-based. So these are the people that are usually very protectors of society because they're aware of the threats, the dangers, and their mind will run to the worst case scenario instead of just, oh, there's a funny noise, I wonder what it is. No, someone's breaking in, they're going to come and kill us, there's going to be blood everywhere. And so tend to go to the worst case scenario. The number 7, the enthusiast adventurer. These are often the life and soul of the party. They're full of, so the word they like is fun, adventure, excitement. They are almost like a butterfly. They flit from one thing to another. They're very optimistic, very positive, can do lots of things, multitask, are often like the jack of all trades. The negative side is they can be very distracted, very difficult to settle down to anything, can tend to have an addictive personality because they need fun, they need pleasure, they need to be filled up with doing exciting things the whole time. So unhealthy can be quite addictive to different behaviors or things. Your number 8, the protective challenger. These are the people that are very straight, almost like a bull in a china shop. They can be blunt, straight to the point, insensitive, but amazingly strong leaders, very good decision makers, and very much the protectors of the poor and the vulnerable. So you've probably heard of Mother Teresa. Amazingly, she was a number 8, very much protecting the poor and the vulnerable. And these are the people that will be aggressive to fight on behalf of the underdog. And again, very good leaders, very direct. You know exactly where you stand, but can tend to be blunt, insensitive, and run roughshod over anybody that gets in their way. So it's like my way or the highway. Number 9 is the peacemaker or the mediator. And these are people that we need them more and more in society. They will do anything to avoid conflict and keep the peace. Easygoing, mellow, gentle people, But again, the negative is the avoidance. They will procrastinate because they don't want to face things. They don't want to deal with issues. They just want to keep the peace. But you'll realize how much we need that gift of peacemaking, of being able to not take offense easily and be able to see things from other people's perspectives very easily. So as I'm talking there, I'm sure you can see elements, but which one do you feel sounds the most like you, or even like, oh, I really want to be that person? Be careful, because you can't wish to be someone else. So how else do you know what your type is? So you can see here, each type has got a very, very deep core desire that drives them. The moral reformer, to have integrity, be good, be ethical, moral and upright. They need this deeply, and it motivates them. It's their core desire. It's what pushes everything in life. Number 2, the helper, to be loved, to be wanted, to be appreciated. Number 3, the successful achiever, they have to be successful, efficient, valued, admired, looked up to. Number 4, our romantic individualist, they want desperately to be utterly unique, to be special, to feel like they're being true to who they are, and they're significant and they're utterly original. Our investigative observer has to be competent, capable, knowledgeable, insight, and this is what drives each type. Then number 6, they love to have support and guidance and security and assurance, and do everything in a group or as a team effort. Number 7, they love to have fun, excitement. They need to feel satisfied and fulfilled and content and happy. That's what drives them. Number 9, to be in control. Number 8, be in control, to protect themselves and be able to feel like they've got the freedom to make the decisions. And of course, number 9, to have internal stability and peace of mind. Now, when we're unhealthy, then our core fears start to kick in. And obviously, the core fears are everything that's against this. So for number 9, the worst thing for him would be to have lack of peace, disharmony, conflict is just like everything that he wants to avoid. The successful achiever, to lose, or they very seldom lose, but to feel like they're a failure is the worst thing that will push them. So that's just to give you a bit of an example. So your core desires, the core fears are almost the exact opposite of this. So here's a bit of a fun look. Which creature exemplifies your Enneagram type? So there's number 1, our moral perfectionist, the busy bee, conscientious, productive, always busy, very, very hard worker. Number 2, our supportive helper is like a little puppy, always eager to love and be loved, and they want to roll over and have you scratch their tummy, and they want to run around and help you. They want to help with everything. Number 3, the eagle, has to be climbing up to new heights, very impressive. Number 4 is the peacock. They want this beautiful display of color and beauty. They want to be significant and unique. Number 5, our investigative reporter or observer is the owl. Very wise, studious, doesn't talk a lot, loves gaining knowledge. Number 6, our loyal guardian, remember I said, loves to be part of a team. So here's the flock of geese. They love togetherness, they love loyalty, there's safety in numbers. Number 7, the butterfly flutters. One exciting place to the next bit of nectar, the next lovely flower, they're off to go and investigate. Number 8, our protective challenger is the bull. Takes things head on, no nonsense, take charge, get out of my way. And then number 8, the gentle elephant. Gentle, peace-loving, but just don't prod the bear. Don't push too hard, because then you'll get quite a strong kickback. Then they explode. Passive until they explode. So quickly then, how do you find your type? So it really, really is. You need to hear me on this. It's a process of discovery and reflection. There's loads of free Enneagram tests that you can do online. I suggest doing a couple of them. But remember, they're all only about 70% accurate, maybe, because it depends on how you hear and interpret the questions. And then when you've got a bit of an idea, you think you might be this, just keep it very open plan. Then go and listen on YouTube. There's all sorts of panel discussions where they go through the 9 types. There's so much teaching and training, and there's a lot of, I think it's Pinterest or Instagram, loads of people sharing different things about the Enneagram. So search for what you think your type is. And then over time, observation and reflection, you come to understand more and more. Is this really me? I feel like I'm more about this. And then, of course, if you really want to understand and take a deep dive in lots more detail, you may be interested in joining our next group coaching. So I'm going to quickly zip on, or as Elaine's going to share with you, there is a free download where you can go through more of this and have some time to reflect on it. So, quick overview from me.
I know. That was well done. That's a lot to cover in a short amount of time. So I really appreciate it. I also want to give a quick shout out to Donna, Lynn, Deborah, Layla. Thank you for being here with us. A nice group of ladies, and I don't have any questions from them so far, so I'm going to keep monitoring that. But in the meantime, it was very interesting hearing more about the Enneagram, and I'm so much more familiar with Myers-Briggs, and it was really nice to hear that you are also very cognizant of that one. And so when you say that, like, the Enneagram doesn't put you in a box as much as like a Myers-Briggs might, what do you mean by that?
So I find many of the personality types say, you are this. And so it gives a very clear description. This is how you behave. This is how you respond, for example. But the Enneagram is so multi-layered that it allows each person to be unique. So there are recognizable traits or ways of being that you could pick up in yourself, which we try to say, please don't try and type other people, because people are so complex. But there's definite types that you can pick up in yourself. But the way it gets you out of a box is because it shows you how to grow. And if you grow to a healthy, you can let go of your personality styles and just be the gift that you were created to be, without the negative stuff of your personality type.
Right, because it seems like each personality type in the Enneagram has pros and cons. I mean, it's kind of like if you take a good thing too far, there's some negative aspects to it. And so is it really about allowing yourself to own your gift without being weighed down by the baggage that, could come with it?
Yes, to some degree, but also because there's such a mix of types, what you can find is this type can balance out the negatives of this one and show you this is the direction you go in. So it's very mixed. That's yes, there is your main type, but it's so complex that it gives you the freedom to be who you are, and yet still know, I'm behaving unhealthy. Look at this. This is the direction that I need to grow in, to move away from the negative, the cons of my personality type.
Yeah, and it seems to honor that we're all multi-dimensional people, and even if we have one primary type, that all these other tri-type, and you said the wings and whatever. I mean, because when I looked at the types, it's not like I'm like, oh, I know which one I am. I could see that it's going to take, because I'm going to go and take some tests and stuff, and I can see that it's going to take some time to figure out which one I am. And because at first I was like, every time you started talking, I'm like, oh yeah, well, no, wait, that one, no, that one, there were some that did not resonate as much with me. So I could feel like I can easily take a few out, but I could probably take 6, keep 6 in.
So what I really try and do is to help people understand their top 3 and then work with those 3 to sort of look at those 3 to see which one is more you. And one of the ways is to look at the deepest fear, your core fear. What is it that you consistently move away from, what you don't want in your life, as opposed to your core desire? What do you deeply want in your life? So those 2 are fairly good indicators.
And is each type equally, like, I know with Myers-Briggs, it's like, okay, a certain percent of the population is this one, that one, these are more rare, these are more common, men tend to these, women, are you saying that they're all equally distributed across demographics?
I wouldn't say so, no, because I think in society, I mean, if you just think offhand, how many number 8s of those strong, determined leaders, how many do you actually really need in the world? So I think it's fairly evenly distributed of the particular types in the society that you need. So like the loyal, supportive guardians, there would probably tend to be a wee bit more of that because you need more, I don't want to say the word followers because they often are not followers. They're just very dynamic people, but it's very mixed. Yeah.
Wait, are you saying that the 9 types are equally, like there's an equal amount of each, but then within each, is it like, well, I see more women in the helper, the Enneagram or whatever? Is it just based on natural or cultural tendencies?
It's I think, like I said, culture can tend to promote. So let's say, for example, in an American culture, they may tend to be more promoting perhaps a number 8, be outspoken, be bold, be strong, whereas perhaps an Asian culture would be more of the peacemaker, let's
team
be
player,
diplomatic. So culturally, they may encourage this kind of behavior, but even still, there's generally an even mix.
And so
you will find the types in every culture.
Gotcha. Yeah. And now, are we kind of like, hey, I was born with this type, and then this is kind of my type throughout my life, or can that change?
So there's a lot of discussion. Is it nature? In other words, I was born with it, or is it nurture according to my upbringing, my environment? And I think definitely the opinion goes more, it's your nature. It's what you were born with, because you see from a young child, this is how a child behaves, and that one's totally different. And this one gets upset and that one doesn't. So it's very much nature, but also can obviously be very influenced by nurture, your upbringing, because your culture would prefer this kind of behavior than this kind of behavior. So it is both, but I would definitely more so, it's your nature and it does not change. So you will be that type throughout your life. Yeah. But hopefully you grow more healthy, more mature, and you don't become more unhealthy and difficult to be with.
I mean, having twin girls who were born, who have totally different personalities, and that was exhibited from birth, I feel like, nurture can move the needle a little bit, but it's kind of like, here's they are, and maybe I can move them, maybe through teaching them things and helping them, acclimate to our culture or whatever. You can move the needle a little bit, but I feel like the nature is such a huge part of, their personality, is who they were born.
And there's some interesting things that you can get on internet about trying to understand your teenager and your children and their Enneagram type.
Oh, yeah. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Wow. Well, this has been really fascinating. I would love for you to tell us a little bit more how you work with people on this. Tell us a little bit more about your course.
So I have done like a whole in-depth training on just the Enneagram, but a lot of the time it's like, what I found really helpful was the Enneagram standing on its own. It's like, well, okay, that's nice to know. Like,
Right.
so I really combine it with the coaching. So I run a 12-week coaching course. And the first we do an initial start, and then 3 weeks we do a deep dive into your Enneagram type, because I feel it's so important to understand who you are, because who you are is what you bring to the rest of your life. It's what motivates you,
Yeah.
what you avoid. It starts to shape your values, your strengths. Everything is rooted in this is who I am. And so we just, as soon as you've got, and then of course it constantly comes back to your personality, your values. Look at this, look at this. So as soon as you've got that foundation, it's so much easier to know the way forward that's going to suit you personally.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah. And that, so is that something that you run regularly, that's several times a year, or how does that work?
So I have 12-week coaching course, and so they run 3 times a year.
Oh, great.
So,
Okay.
so people normally go from the first one and then into the second course. We take
Gotcha.
a break, and then it runs again.
Perfect. Well, for everybody watching, I am going to be putting Laurie's website link in the comments, as well as a link to a free download that she mentioned, Discover You Through the Enneagram. So I really appreciate, Laurie, you giving that to our viewers, and appreciate you being here to teach us and really kind of, explain more about this fascinating personality test. So I really loved hearing about it. It seems quite complex, and like, yeah, you would need supports to really, take whatever results you get from some test online to understand, okay, well, how can you use that to benefit you? So I could see how your guidance and expertise would be really helpful with us.
Great. Oh, it's been lovely to be with you all this evening. So
Yeah,
this
well,
morning, this
yeah,
evening.
I
So
know. Well,
thank
Laurie's
you.
actually in the evening. It's noon here in Chicago, and it's 19 or 7 p.m. In Zimbabwe when she started. So thank
Yes.
you for joining us in the evening, and thanks everybody for joining us today. And don't forget to check out the links I'll be putting in the comments. And if you enjoy these videos, please watch for more coming weekly. Until then, be well and stay safe, everybody. And thanks again, Laurie.
Thanks, Ellen. Thank you for inviting me.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.